Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Forward with Forley. In this episode we're going to talk about the equipment that is not considered standard issue equipment, but that I use with my guide dog. Some of it's used daily, most of it is used seasonally or kind of occasionally. Uh, all this stuff is really accessories that you can add apart from a couple of things that are sort of necessary that I'll go into. But most of the stuff is really just accessories that you can get for your dog. And this is, of course, not an exhaustive list. There are tons of different types of dog accessories. It's a huge industry. These are just some of the things that I use, and most of what I use really is the standard issue guide dog equipment. But I thought I would show you a few other supplemental items that Forley and I use. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, of course, my dog's bowl for food and water. So here it is. I have two identical bowls just like this. This is made out of, I think, aluminum. They're 10 years old, and as you can see, they're in pretty good shape. They last forever. Do yourself a favor, get yourself a good dog bowl for your dog. This is absolutely necessary because you have to feed them in something. Like I said, I have two, one for food, one for water. Some people choose to just have one bowl that they use for both food and water. That's personal preference. My dog is what we call, she's on free water, which means she has access to water pretty much any time of the day or night that she wants, and she's trained to have that, so that's not an issue. But when you're looking for a bowl, you want to find something that's sturdy. Like I said, metal is a really good choice. That's food safe, so you don't want to necessarily just feed your dog out of something that isn't designed for food. Like you wouldn't want to use a hubcap or something. You want to make sure it's food safe. It lasts a long time. It's durable and it's comfortable for you to use. Some good materials, of course, metal I think is the best. It's the most durable. Plastic is good. Just make sure it's strong and that it doesn't chip or flake or fall apart in any way. I would stay away from glass or ceramic or anything like that because they can chip and they can break. And not that dogs are necessarily rough around the bowls of food or water, but you never know if they're playing, and they knock into it. Or like when my dog is finished licking her bowl, she kind of slides it around a little bit, just kind of bangs into the other dish. So you want to make sure that it's made out of a good material so that it's safe for you and your dog. And these came actually from, I got my first dog. The guide dog school came around with a list of supplies that you could order and you could purchase. And so that's where I got this particular bowl. You can get these pretty much anywhere, any pet retailers, online, Amazon, that sort of thing. And they're pretty inexpensive, and they, like I said, they last a while. This bowl is, like I said, it's over 10 years old, and it's held up just fine. Looks almost like it did the day I got it. Another daily item that your dog will appreciate is a dog bed. Now, of course, I don't have a dog bed to show you, but Forley does have one, and she really enjoys it. You can get these things pretty much in any pet store and online. They come in all different shapes and sizes. Just find one that kind of works for you. Some people like really large ones. Some people like smaller ones. It really depends on what kind of living situation you're in. They're thin, thick. You want to just make sure that it's easy to take care of, it's easy to wash, especially if it's stuffed with anything. A lot of them have a top that zippers off, so you can unzip it and wash where the dog lays on it and then put it back down, or if they have an accident, that sort of thing. So I think it's good to go into a store and check it out for yourself and see how easy it is to use, but definitely something that you'll want to get for your dog so that they have a place to go. Apart from being comfortable, it also gives them a spot in your home that they can sort of call their home, and they can feel like they have a place to themselves and can relax when they want to. The accessory we're going to talk about is an alternative leash. It's always good to have an extra leash around, something other than your nice leather guide dog leash. And what I have here is a leash. It's made out of like a poly line like you might see around a boat, a tie-up line for a boat or something. But in the middle of this, it has an elastic um, part that stretches. And what's really nice about this is when the dog pulls on this, instead of jerking your arm or your shoulder, it just stretches the line. So it's much smoother when the dog is pulling into this thing. So I recommend a leash like this. It's not the best for controlling the dog, but if you're somewhere like pretty casual, like the beach or the backyard, somewhere where you really don't have to be doing a lot of handling of your dog, but you don't also want them, jerking your shoulder out of the socket, this is definitely one I recommend. It's also good if you're going to be anywhere near water, salt water, fresh water. Leather is a good material. It can be in water, but it is nice to keep your good working guide dog leash in good condition, I think, because you use that every day. This is something that you can take out. You can get muddy. You can get dirty. It's not an issue, and it's a lot easier to replace something like this. I don't know the brand of this particular one. It was given to me a while ago, but you might just search around and see if you can find it in a pet store or something. It's definitely not guide dog equipment by any means. It's just an accessory. But any type of flat leash, nylon leash will work. Of course, you want to find something that's designed for a large dog, so that it can withstand your dog. Even if your dog is has the best of intentions, we all know sometimes they can pull, and you definitely don't want to be with two pieces of a leash. So make sure that if you do buy a leash, another leash for your dog, that it is designed for a large dog. And you can look for things like this clip part, which is called the bolt snap. Make sure that this is nice and strong, sturdy, relatively large. This is what clips to the collar. And then, that the leash is made of good quality nylon or braided nylon or other material like that. Another type of leash that I like to have on hand is something called a retractable leash. One of the top brands is called Flexi Lead, and here it is. And it's like a tape measure or retractable line, and this one's 20 feet in length, and you just roll it out, and it goes all the way out 20 feet or so. And these are really great if you're wanting to teach your dog recall, if you want to have your dog on a long leash, but you don't want to necessarily let your dog loose. This is a great sort of happy medium because it allows your dog 20 feet of freedom in any direction, but it also, without having you to, without you having to let your dog loose. So this is a great leash, like I said, for any time in the backyard, or if you're at the beach, friend's house, camping, etc. And it's pretty simple. Like I said, it just has a bolt snap, just clips onto the collar. This is a pretty standard type clip. And then on the top, it has just a little button, a brake. So if you only want your dog to go out, several feet, a couple of feet, you can hold it there with your thumb. And right above this little button is another smaller button, and it locks it in place, so that only gives your dog so much leash. And this is really good if you're going to try and use this to heel your dog. Now, this should not be used as a heeling tool necessarily. If you're wanting to take your dog in public, I would not walk your dog on this leash. So many people do, and I think it causes more problems than it solves. So it's definitely something you want to use in a specific situation. Like I said, if you're wanting to give your dog more freedom than you can on just your standard issue guide dog leash or a short leash, this is a happy medium, and it's good for that. Maybe your dog wants to get in the water, but you just don't trust him off leash yet, but you don't really want to get in the water yourself. That would be one example of that. Again, when you're looking for these, get the big dog size. Get ones that are durable. As you can see, this has got a pretty good nylon type material. It's well put together. It's well woven. Make sure it's nice and thick. They do make them in all different sizes and different diameters of the leash itself. For small dogs and large dogs, I know it's bulky, but you want to get the larger size. That will ensure that your dog cannot break it, and that it'll be safe for both you and your dog. So especially in the wintertime, I do a lot of travel after dark. It gets dark around here at 5 o'clock in the evening, and I also travel currently with a black Labrador, and so I definitely want us to be seen at night. And so what I will use is a little flashing light. It's just a little bike light. As you can see, it's flashing. It's got 3 modes. And this is great. It's made of a kind of a silicone rubber material, and it just clips over the harness. I put it over the harness handle and then shine it kind of in front of us, so it'd be like this, straight out in front of us. And that allows the traffic to see us standing on the curb, so if someone wants to make a quick right or left-hand turn, at least know there's a pedestrian there, because they may not be able to see the dog. Black dog on a cold, dark, rainy night might be kind of hard for people to see, even though the harness is reflective and that sort of thing. There's a lot going on, and it's just one more thing to help keep us safe and to have some more visibility. If you're going to get a light or some kind of visibility device for your guide dog, definitely get it in white. They make a lot of red color, and that's fine too. But I think the white high visibility strobe light is going to be your best bet, and it's going to be easiest for cars to see, and I think it just works a lot better than red. And you can get these anywhere, any sporting goods store, bike shops, anywhere that sells this sort of stuff. Like I said, this one is actually designed for a bicycle. The important part is finding something that will secure snugly to your dog's harness, and you want to put it up high. Like I said, I have mine on the handle. You'd want maybe the handle or the back strap, somewhere where it's going to be easily seen by vehicles. And again, it's not much, but it is one more thing that we use to keep things safe while Forley and I are traveling after dark. The last item I'm going to show you today is a jacket or a coat for my dog. Now, I actually have 3 different ones that I will show you. Of course, these are used during the winter time, and each one has a different purpose. So I will start with a heavy winter coat. This one is blue and black. It goes very nicely on Forley, and it just helps keep the wind off the dog. And I use this in temperatures when the air temperature drops below about 25 degrees, and anytime we're going to be going for a long period of time. Because you have to remember that the dogs are out in the weather. They're in all kinds of weather, and they do get cold, believe it or not. Even with their double coat, they do get a little bit cold. And so this is the jacket. It's got a nice kind of outer water-resistant layer, and then on the inside it's like a fleece layer. So it does keep her nice and warm, and it just goes over her back and buckles underneath. I'll demonstrate what all these look like. So this is really good for cold weather. It's really important if you're going to use something like this that you remove it as soon as you get indoors, because the dogs, kind of got acclimated to being outside and then coming in. This is a lot for the dog to be wearing. This particular type fits pretty well underneath of a harness. I definitely recommend you go to a pet store and try a couple of them out. Make sure that they, one, fit the dog well. You don't want a lot of extra material hanging down underneath the dog or up by their neck or whatever. And you also want to make sure, too, that the harness fits well. Now, it might fit a little snug, but you want to make sure that it's not rubbing, especially the belly straps, or if you're like at the Seeing Eye, if you have a harness with a martingale strap that goes between the front legs, like make sure that that is still free and clear and is able to do its job properly. You may have to settle for adjusting the harness belly strap, making it one size larger when using something like this. But again, if you're at all concerned or unsure how to do that, definitely consult your school's training department, and they can help advise you on that sort of thing. So that's the first jacket that we have. We also have a fleece jacket, and I showed this in another video, but it is a great little jacket. And this one is, this is nice when, you know, it's not quite, you know, frigid temperatures. It's maybe still above freezing, but maybe the wind's blowing and you know you're going to be out and about, waiting at bus stops, doing different things. You can see it's in a nice flannel plaid color. It goes very well with either a black or yellow dog. Not that I try to color coordinate. I'm more into making sure that it functions properly. But this is good. It's a nice lighter jacket. It's you know, just quick and easy to get on and off the dog. Again, one of those things where, you know, it's kind of cold, it's kind of chilly, it's dry out. This is just a fleece, so it's definitely not waterproof at all or even water resistant. But you know, it's good for a little less of a cold temperature. It's also really great if you're going to be traveling on an airplane. Sometimes the dogs can get really cold as they're laying underneath the seat in front of you because the cold air inlet that blows air into the cabin is located on the floor. It's kind of like central air. So like in your house, if you have central air, you know that the vent is on the floor. Well, the airplane cabin fuselage is the same way. And so it blows cold air in, and then there's also warm air that's circulated throughout the cabin, and that's how they're able to keep a steady temperature. Unfortunately, if you're sitting in a row where one of those is blowing on your dog and you know you've got a 3.5-hour flight, that can get pretty cold for your dog. So it's always great, you know, to throw this in a bag, your carry-on, and to just put it on your dog, and that will help kind of keep some of the air off of them and keep them a little bit more comfortable when they're in that environment. So anytime that's kind of an issue, you know, even on a bus or a train or something, this is good for that sort of thing. And again, it's pretty small. You can just fold it up, you know, or just, you know, roll it up, whatever, and it's relatively easy to use. And finally, the last type of jacket I have for my dog is a rain jacket. And this one makes my dog look like a giant bumblebee. It's bright yellow, which is great because it's high visibility, and it just goes over her back, buckles underneath, and again, it's just designed to keep the rain off the dog. It does a pretty good job covering, you know, what it can, but you have to remember, you know, the dogs have a double coat. They're used to being in water. They can handle that. It's more to keep them dry and presentable when you're out and about, and keep down the wet dog smell. But very good jacket. Anything from a light shower to torrential downpour. I've used this, you know, traveling around the rainy Pacific Northwest in the wintertime or in the late fall and into the spring. This thing is really a lifesaver for my dog. It just makes her life a little bit easier in the working conditions. Okay, we got our model here, our wonderful model dog, Forley. And we're going to demonstrate one of the 3 jackets that I showed you. They all fit about the same. They all have very similar ways of going on. So I want to show you with the raincoat, which makes my dog look like a giant bumblebee. But this thing is very handy, as I mentioned. And so it basically wraps around the dog's front, and then it has a strap that goes over her back. So I just undo both straps, lay it over her back like so. And then go ahead and do up the front strap, and it's kind of pre-adjusted already because I use this, you know, enough. Put the 2 Velcro straps together in the front. That keeps it together forward, and then there's a strap that goes underneath her belly, it goes over her back, and Velcros to itself on the other side. And like I mentioned, the other 2 jackets fit very similar. Obviously, the winter jacket is going to be more bulky, and you're going to want to check for fit, and especially with the harness, making sure it works well. This is, again, rain jackets. It's pretty lightweight. It fits very comfortably on the dog. But they all have about the same design, which is handy. So if you are going to get more than one jacket, it might be helpful to try to find jackets that have a very similar design. So when you are putting them on your dog, they are easier for you to get on and off because you'll be more comfortable with the layout of the jacket. I hope you found this information useful for you and your dog, or if you're thinking about getting a dog, some of the accessories and optional items that you can have. Like I said earlier in the video, there are tons of different accessories to get for your dog. So that is totally up to you. I like to use things that are functional and easy to use and that are going to make a real difference in my dog's quality of life. So that's kind of what we use for different seasons, different types of the year, different situations. If you like this video, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.